By the early 1970s, Iran is changing fast. Literacy rates have doubled in recent decades, and the economy is booming. The so-called White Revolution paved the way for improved education, women's rights, and rapid urbanization. Oil sales soar by almost 700%. For the first time, women can vote, and government officials move towards more secular forms of law. However, despite these revolutionary socio-economic advancements, deep tensions and dissent are emerging. The 20th century brought major political upheaval to Iran. The previous dynasty was overthrown and replaced by the Pahlavi dynasty, which assumed control of the monarchy. During World War II, Great Britain and the Soviet Union took control of the country, forcing the Shah, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, into exile over fears of Nazi sympathies. By the early 1950s, Western powers decided a stable ally in the Middle East was more valuable. The United States helped orchestrate a coup to restore the Shah's power. The intervention tightly bound American-Iranian relations, turning Iran into a key ally in the American Cold War strategy. U.S. aid, technical expertise, and weapons flowed in, while the Shah pursued rapid societal changes and closer ties with the West. His most ambitious program, the White Revolution, was a radical set of reforms promising sweeping modernization, including land reform, expanded education, and new rights for women.
We are subsidizing 5 items of food. All the education is free throughout the university. We are even paying pocket money to the students.
However, many rural Iranians saw few benefits. Land changes and economic shifts forced many villagers to leave the countryside in search of work, and those who remained often struggled to adapt to the rapid changes. Yet despite these challenges, not every experience of the White Revolution was negative.
در زمان شاه من خیلی راحت بودم، میتونستم هر کاری بکنم، هر جایی که میخواستم میرفتم و یکی از چیزایی که خیلی دوست داشتم بود که police officer.
Yet the transformation of Iranian society, for good or bad, was not left to chance. The Shah ensured these reforms would take hold by implementing extreme measures, such as Savak, his violently repressive secret police, as well as American aid to ensure that these reforms were met.
Beneath the surface, tensions are growing. The Shah's reforms primarily benefit the wealthy, widening the gap between the rich and the poor. Many middle-class Iranians see little improvement in their quality of life, and the wealth of the booming economy rarely reaches the average citizen. Despite this, the Shah believes he remains widely popular. By the mid-1970s, Shah Pahlavi reorganized Iran's political system around a single-party structure.
I even sometimes wonder if this multi-party system is good for those who have it elsewhere. What we have done now is the best because, as I said, just go in the streets and question anybody. You will see the whole country has joined the movement.
The Shah marginalizes parliament, suppresses political parties, and uses Savak to silence opposition. While elections continue, the choices are tightly controlled. Iran functions not as a democracy, but as an autocratic state. Public discontent grows against the regime and increasing U.S. interference. The nation begins to simmer, the falling oil prices adding fuel to the fire. Radical groups become more active despite brutal retaliation from Savak, while many others fall silent, fearing punishment for speaking out. Religious leaders began to channel this unrest. Their status shields them from repercussions, allowing them to weave political criticisms into sermons. They condemn Western secularism and the Shah's reforms, giving voice to frustrations shared by much of the population. The most prominent of these clerics is Ayatollah Khomeini, exiled to Iraq in the 1960s for opposing the Shah. He promotes traditional Islamic values alongside the vision of the Islamic Republic. His message resonates with many alienated Iranians, and support for his movement rapidly grows. His eventual return ignites uprising that reshape Iranian political sovereignty through civilian unrest that destabilizes the monarchy, accelerating the collapse. By early 1978, the simmering tensions erupted into mass protests. Streets filled with young, angry demonstrators, many undeterred by police use of lethal force. The unrest shocks both the Shah, who believes he still holds broad support, and the United States, which had long assumed his rule was secure. By August, riots have spread nationwide, with protesters attacking symbols of the monarchy and foreign influence.
August 19th, 1978, marks a turning point in the Iranian Revolution. A cinema is set on fire, killing over 450 people. Many blame Savak, fueling hatred towards the regime. Violence escalates over the following weeks, culminating on September 8th.
The Shah declared martial law, and when demonstrators refused to disperse, he ordered his troops to open fire.
Government troops fire into the crowd, killing 68 and wounding hundreds more. Opposition groups claim far higher casualties, and the Shah's soldiers hesitate, struggling to enforce martial law on citizens like themselves. Meanwhile, U.S. officials remain silent, uncertain how to respond to their key ally amidst human rights abuses. Over the coming months, protests intensify, and the Shah's authority declines, interpreting American inaction as support for Khomeini. He hesitates to respond, unwilling to unleash widespread violence on his people. Soon, over 1 million Iranians fill the streets to welcome Khomeini back from exile, where he immediately moved to dismantle the monarchy by force, utilizing protesters to seize weapons factories. The army ultimately declares neutrality, forcing the Shah to flee the country, the monarchy collapses, and the revolutionaries begin constructing a new government.
With the Shah exiled, the joyous masses expect a government similar to the monarchy, yet they are terribly deceived. Khomeini rises to power while suppressing dissent violently, gathering Shah-aligned military leaders and then executing them. President Carter permitted the exiled Shah to take refuge in the U.S., escalating tensions with the new Iranian Republic. Khomeini demands the Shah return, and protesters storm the U.S. embassy, taking 66 Americans hostage. The ensuing crisis lasts 444 days, destabilizing American politics. In a desperate attempt to save face, Carter orders Operation Eagle Claw, a rescue mission that ends in disaster when mechanical failures kill 8 American soldiers. The failed mission undermines Carter's credibility and hardens Khomeini's resolve.
It was my decision to attempt the rescue operation. It was my decision to cancel it when problems developed in the placement of our rescue team for a future rescue operation. The responsibility is fully my own.
The failure is a political disaster for Carter. His approval ratings tank, causing his loss to Ronald Reagan, who quickly reaches a new deal with Khomeini, pledging non-interference in return for the hostages' release. With the crisis solved, Khomeini calls for a referendum asking, should Iran be an Islamic republic? With only one answer, 98% voted yes. Many worry about the role of religious law in foreign relations, but Khomeini sidelines moderates who seek to improve ties with America. Unrest never fully leaves Iran. Communist and Marxist groups challenge Khomeini's government just as they challenge the Shah, but they are not met with restraint. The regime responds violently, eliminating all opposition forcefully.
He couldn't say anything. و برای که همه تمام جاها گارد بود، اگر کسی ضد خمینی حرف میزد میبردن تو زندان مینداختن. یعنی همینجوری نبود که دیگه خیلی سختگیر شده بودن تو این مسئله.
Khomeini utilizes the military to kill all who oppose him. Changes are immediate and severe as Sharia law is enforced. Women lost the rights they gained under the Shah and living standards declined. Iran's transformation reshapes global relations, and the United States loses a major ally, specifically in the Cold War. Today, the Islamic Republic remains in power. Despite leadership changes, the regime continues to enforce strict Sharia law and anti-American ideology. Public frustration returns in waves of protests over the years, culminating in the January 2026 riots. The government responds with force, killing an estimated 60,000. The riots garnered international attention, resulting in the February 28th attacks, which destroyed key Iranian military bases and killed Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader. Tensions escalate as Iran launches missile strikes against regional neighbors and blocks the Strait of Hormuz, driving up global oil prices. The conflict holds many parallels with the 1979 revolution, with Western involvement, mass protests, and political change once again at the center of events. The Iranian Revolution of 1979 permanently reshaped the nation. A revolt against the Shah's repression enabled Khomeini's rise through mass protests and referendums, but the government that followed failed to deliver the freedoms that many hoped for. Over 4 decades later, the revolution's legacy still defines Iran. In 1979, Iranians rose to reclaim their future, and today, the same struggle over power continues. The same desire for change remains a powerful force in shaping the country's future.